What's that?
Well, we've got stuff that's been at Mid-South before Janice. I called Janice the other day. The sheriff had an order. And there's some other orders.
All right, perfect. Hey, good morning.
Somebody else. It's just,
Let's call the Rankin County Board of Supervisors meeting to order on April 2nd, 2018. If everybody could find their seats and check your cell phones, please.
State blew it.
Great.
Tears. State blew it.
All right, good morning. Let's start this Board of Supervisors meeting with a word of prayer. Mr. Slade, do you mind? Good morning.
Good morning. Let's pray. Father, we want to thank you for the grace and mercy that you showed at the cross. Father, thank you for this season of the year that we celebrate all of the freedom that we have because of the forgiveness of sin. Father, let us take that freedom and use it in the best interest of our community. Father, let us take our skills and ability that you've gifted us with, Lord, and help us so that we would use those skills and abilities to serve our fellow man. Thank you for those who serve and protect us. Thank you for our time here today, and let it be pleasing to you in Christ's name. Amen.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Slade. Item 3 on our agenda is public comments and recognition, and I believe we're recognizing the Brandon High School cheerleaders. Yes, ma'am. If you don't mind, ask them to come in.
It may be in the resolution. I really don't know. It's just sometime in the past year. Charles Frazier mentioned it to me about wanting to do something. So,
Yeah.
come on in, ladies.
Good morning.
Come on up.
Y'all would
Come
come on
on.
up.
We're not going to bite. We're not
just
going to bite. Come on.
Y'all line up right here across the front if you can. Very good.
All right, Mr. Morrow, you want to address
Well,
Mr. Gaines?
let's get them all in here first.
They're still flowing in.
Yep.
Yeah. Y'all can form another line in front if we can. Yep. Come on.
I can see them all.
school's out.
We don't have this many emails. Y'all bring the whole school? We're supposed to. Wow. Good looking.
All right, Mr. Morrow.
We're here today to congratulate you ladies on a job well done, and the sponsors too. We're very proud to be living in Rankin County and have you girls representing and gentlemen representing us in the competition. It's really always helpful to see the Brandon High School here as opposed to Northwest Rankin, right, Mr. Cross?
Makes me happy. Absolutely.
I'm gonna let Mr. Gaines. He also represents the Brandon area as well. Say a few words.
Words can't say it. Y'all are, the best of the best. Y'all have done well, and in this part of the world, Brandon is known all over for sports and cheerleading and education. And I know that they're fixing to tell us all your accomplishments, and part of that's probably going to be your education too. What kind of grade point average or whatever you have, and I'm sure it's great. I thank y'all for what you do. I thank your parents, because your parents, if you didn't have great parents, you probably wouldn't get to the practices and the things that you do. And anyhow, we greatly appreciate everything y'all, your parents, and your supporters have done to make this happen. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Slade.
I've got a resolution here, guys, that I want to read, and I want to say first and foremost how proud we are that we're able to recognize our athletes on their accomplishments, and your coaches and your administrators. And so I'm going to read this resolution that has been adopted by the Board of Supervisors. It says, a resolution recognizing and congratulating the Brandon High School cheerleading team on their 2 Mississippi High School Athletic Association Cheer Squad State Championships, and on their 2nd place finish at the National Cheerleaders Association High School Cheerleading Championship. Whereas the Brandon High School cheerleading team won 2 MHSAA Class 6A cheerleading championships and finished 2nd in the nation at the 2018 National Cheerleaders Association High School Cheerleading Championship held in Dallas, Texas. And whereas this talented group of 34 athletes has exhibited excellence in all areas of competition, I'm going to call the names of the team members. If you'll raise your hand when I call your name, if I butcher your name, I'm apologizing in advance, okay? So we're going to start with the JV squad. For the junior varsity, we have Caden Johnston, Kira Thompson, Cassidy Westbrook, Madison Reedy, Riley Bird, Emma Harrell, Mia Patridge, Kate Herndon, Elena Moat, Kennedy Stanley, Taylor Woods, Jordan Mitchell, Chelsea Gilberton, Mackenzie McGee. Okay. For the varsity, we have Sally Adcock, Bella Birchfield, Carolyn Donald, Jamie Goodman, Elise Bullock. Am I hitting all the names here? Good. Jesse Bailey, Michelle Wilson, Madeline Russell, Julianne DeWeese, Addison Tudor, Sarah Sendelwick, Jordan Ponder, Lydia Eaton, Anna Jane Stanley, Anna Grace McAlpin, Hannah Heyman, Emma Harrell again, very good, Joseph Watson, there we go, Madison Faulkner, Hannah Garrett, and Alex Hayden. Good deal. Our managers are Tyler Ward, who is also Bully, and Kate Delano, and the choreographers are Storm Chapman and Will Emmons. Whereas, Steve, I'm glad they did well academically because it's actually in here. So thanks for pointing that out. Here's the most impressive statistics compiled by the Brandon High School cheerleading team. Their overall team GPA is 3.51.
Wow.
That's fantastic. Congratulations. Let me recognize the coaches. The Brandon High School cheerleading coaching staff is under the direction of Jennifer O'Neill. And we also have Anna Bigby and Emily Booth. Are they here today?
No, sir, it's our Easter break, so
Yes.
we've had a lot of people absent.
Absolutely, no problem there. The administration of Brandon High School is to be commended for their outstanding commitment to academic and athletic and extracurricular successes. And therefore, it's resolved by the Board of Supervisors that you're commended and congratulated for your outstanding performance this year. Ladies, we couldn't be more proud of you for 2 state championships and an incredible showing at the national championship level. So congratulations to you ladies, and thank you for being here. Coach, I've got an original of the resolution. We want to say congratulations to you. Chuck's going to get us a photo. Have you already got it, Chuck? Okay.
He's on top of things.
All right, ladies, thank you very much. We appreciate
Thank y'all, we
you guys.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Great job.
Thank
All
y'all.
right.
Thank y'all.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's going to be my job now to find some Northwest Rankin people to recognize Mr. Mark. Whatever we got to do.
Good luck with it.
Start practicing a little harder over there at school, you know?
Here they got a bowling team.
Do they win? I'll take it. I'll take it.
I know about that.
I'll take it.
I'm kidding, man.
I'll take it. All right.
Yes,
Thank
good
you
morning,
again to
good morning.
the Brandon High School cheerleaders. And now we'll recognize the Central Mississippi Regional Library System. Good morning, ladies.
morning.
And first, let me start by thanking you for breakfast last, I think it was Thursday or Friday. Y'all kind of run together, but thank y'all for doing that. It's always good to kind of get us going a little bit.
So
good
no one
morning.
got sick.
Not too
Okay,
bad. Not
that's
too
good.
bad.
That's good.
We had a weekend recovery.
So,
Great. We're gonna play a video for you real quick. It's about 2 minutes, maybe extra change. Sure. I don't know if the volume is turned all the way up. I waited till the crowd left. You can just watch it, and the music is kind of annoying anyway. But if we don't have it going, it's fine because you're going to see pictures of people that. Oh.
Did it, Mike, take my seat?
Well, I think it's not working. I guess just just let it go. Just let it go. And see if it'll. I can send an attachment if you want to look at it. That's new to you.
Wow,
Yeah, I think we should just pause it. Because the laptop is probably older than
We're
some of
getting a
your
lot of
grandkids. So, but it is on our website, and I can send Janice the file to it. But it shows how big Central Mississippi Regional Library System is. So first, I want to say thank you for entrusting us with your community. Libraries, you know, are one of the high points, and you don't want to think about them too much. You want to know that we're doing our jobs, we're getting people educated, we're meeting their needs for April 15th when they run in and want to hurry up and get their taxes done because they're trying to get an internet connection or something like that. So I just want to say thank you for trusting us to do our work, because there are so many other people in this world that want to micromanage folks, to tell them how to do things, but y'all let us do our work for this community. So what I want to do is introduce our librarians to you, because they're actually the people that try to make me look good. I know I already look okay, but they make me look even better. We've got Charlie Simpkins with Reservoir, David Muse with Flowwood, Morgan Lee with Florence, Tina Mooney with Pelahatchie, Linda Wolf with Brandon, Regina Hudson with Pelahatchie, Nikki, you know her, she's going to be singing soon, so just to put a soundbite out there, if you want to hear her fabulous voice, she'll be at Flowwood Day, or is that, what's that? Mayor's Breakfast, okay. At Sand Hill, and then we've got Dwayne Willems, who is the Richland manager, and I represent the Pearl Public Library at this point, so, and the rest of the system. So a couple of things that I want to highlight for y'all in your goodie bags. I hope you'll enjoy them and share them with your families, because I know that's what I do with them. I'm like, who wants what? There is a fact sheet that we have that's a lot colorful and prettier than the normal fact sheets here, that tell you about the whole system that covers Rankin, Scott, Simpson, and Smith counties, and it even has the Rankin County numbers on there. But just to let y'all know about CMRLS, we saw increases in almost every important thing except for circulation. So I'm going to say we had a 4.02% increase in visits. We had a 17.9 increase in program attendance. We had a 0.9 decrease in circulation, and then we had an 11.8 increase in total library card holders. So this past year, this fiscal year 17, we saw almost 20,000 more new card holders in our system. That's phenomenal. The program attendance, that should tell you, if you're following us on Facebook, like our page, you'll see that all our libraries are doing something individually unique, from crafting programs to grandma boot camp. You can ask Linda about that, or just book clubs in general, what you think books are. But there are so many things that we do at the library that just go outside of the box. And the newest thing that we're going to have, if you want to learn how to sew, we got a grant to get 10 sewing machines that will be able to, and they're pretty heavy, guys, to be able to be mobile to 20 of our libraries, but they're going to be housed at Brandon. And we're going to start having sewing classes for folks. Because I don't know about y'all, but a lot of people are getting back into the whole, I don't want to say homemaker thing, but they're wanting to use their skills. And so this is really, really fantastic that we got this grant through federal LSTA funding to get this. Okay, so I talked about Central Mississippi Regional Library System. So on the state level, I'm going to read a quote that our executive director from MLC said about the budget. The budget, as passed, maintains the funding level of 2018 for the personnel incentive grants, level funding for Magnolia, which is our databases, level funding for MLC operations with retention of 48 positions, and provides funding to cover the health insurance premium increase for public librarians. It is anticipated that the health cost increase shall begin in January 2019. So what that means is that the legislature of the state, they heard us and they kept our budget level. So what does that mean for y'all? That means that we're not going to have to cut more things this year, but we are going to have to make sure, my job is to make sure we tighten up how much we spend and how we're spending it. You know, it's a difference of buying Lysol versus the generic kind. So I'm telling y'all that I'm really trying to look at this money and say, hey, you know, the generic stuff is as good as the good stuff. So we might have to go that way, but that means that I don't have to try to figure out where I'm going to cut something this year. It's just going to stay level as last year. So I'm really excited that the efforts of us going up there every week, they heard us and they're going to maintain the funding for MLC. Because if you didn't know, our health insurance costs are supplemented by the Mississippi Library Commission, which is a state agency that doesn't have any authority over us, but they give us this grant money to help us with insurance cost. So that's good on our part. So that's all I have to say. I say thank you. Thank you for entrusting us and letting us work with our patrons. And I always say this at every meeting, if you are disappointed or don't have a good experience in our libraries, these are the people to call, and then I'm the person to call. Because if there's a problem and you're just going to grumble about it, I wasn't hired to be a mind reader or a fortune teller. So I'm very proactive in calling back patrons that are very upset and talking to them and explaining things. So if you know that people are very upset about something, you just come to me and that's my job. That's what the board has hired me to do. And I'd like to thank y'all for giving us our new board member, Mr. Bob Sukup. I think he's going to do great representing Rankin County as well. Susie Wolf does an outstanding job as your 2 Rankin County board members. So thank you so much.
Great, thank you, ladies, very much.
Thank y'all.
Good to see you guys.
Ms. Shoemaker, will you sing a song for us one day?
Could we take a picture with y'all?
Sure,
On
absolutely.
somebody's iPhone? Does somebody have a good iPhone?
There we
Okay.
go.
Well, she goes to these big things, you know, the mayors. We don't ever get to have her sing for us.
Oh, we go watch it. We're always in Flow whenever she goes there.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to be in it.
We did. Oh, we did. Show party. We have them here.
I can hear your phone if you want me to.
All right, come on over.
Come on, Charlie.
All right.
It took like
Guys,
Thank
thank
y'all.
you very
Thank
much
you.
for the help.
Appreciate you very much.
Definitely.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, continuing on with our public comments and recognition, Mr. Casey from BCI. Good morning, Mr. Casey. I know it's a tough act to follow. You had some cheerleaders and our
national
our
and state championships.
absolutely,
and
in our library systems here. So expect you to be right on the money then today. How are you this morning? Good morning.
doing good. How about yourself?
Good.
Are you familiar with BCI?
Probably just explain just a quick overview.
So BCI is a IT engineering services company. We're headquartered out of Ridgeland, Mississippi. I've been here for 25 years. I've actually done a good bit of work with Rankin County over the years, and I actually have been working here as a rep even before for Sailor South and C-Spire with a lot of these folks for probably 15 years. But now work for BCI, and BCI employs probably, 50 engineers that are really truly certified from an IT standpoint. So we do work all the way from companies like Saks Fifth Avenue and Murphy Oil, all the way down to 1 and 2, 3 employee shops. It just kind of depends on what the need is. I know that you guys have had a lot going on from an IT standpoint. Wanted to come in and have the opportunity to kind of tell you a little bit about what we may be able to do to help you.
Okay.
So we have the ability, we're partnered with all of the companies that have your equipment. So HP, Cisco, all these different IT companies, we have guys that are certified in doing that and have the ability to manage all of that equipment and help you with that. And that may be short term, it may be long term. But we have the ability to do that and wanted to let you know that. You also have purchased a good bit of equipment from BCI over the past, 3 or 4 months. A lot of it's for your jail, for the sheriff's department, a lot of it's for your new building you're building, and I don't know that that equipment's been installed. And so you got a lot of money sitting on the floor somewhere possibly, and didn't want you to be left with a need. A lot of that's wireless equipment. And so in the jail right now, there's some areas that need wireless coverage and don't have it, and they've pulled the money out of their budget, purchased the equipment, but I don't think it's been put in. And wanted to let you know that we have the ability to help you with that.
Okay.
And see if I could get permission to come in, look at what you have going on from an IT standpoint, and then come back and kind of present to you and give you more detail as to what we could help you with. And y'all may have some questions as well, and that's fine.
Okay. Jay, Steve, anything? Good? All right, great. We'll talk it over, discuss it. And do they have your contact number, Ms. Laura? You have his contact number and everything?
Sure.
Great. We'll be in touch with you then. Thank you so much for your
Yes,
time this
appreciate
morning. We appreciate you. All right, anything else under public comments, Ms. Janice? Is that good? All right, item 4. Got a motion by Mr. Morrow to accept and approve minutes of old.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed with the like sign. So item 5 under consent agenda.
Motion approved.
I have something that was
Hang on
there.
one second. Yeah. Was there one thing you wanted to pull off?
You want to pull it off?
Yeah.
Discuss it?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember what item number that is?
It's under bus turnaround.
Yeah, H, item H.
Okay.
We'll pull that off. All right, so, Ms. Laura, if I can, I'm going to pull item H off, and we'll add that down under additional business to be discussed. Item H. So the motion to approve consent agenda will be minus item H.
Right.
Jay, you all right with
Motion
that?
approved.
All right, so motion by Mr. Bishop,
Second.
second by Mr. Morrison. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. So the consent agenda is approved. Item 6, Mr. Sullivan. Good morning.
Keep your seat, Mr. Sullivan. Motion to approve.
So the motion approved by Mr. Morrow and Mr. Sullivan to keep his seat.
Die from lack of a second.
And a second from Mr. Bishop. Any further comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Item 6 passes. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Item 7, Mr. Harrison. Good morning.
Fine, how are y'all?
Good.
Good.
I
Motion
make,
to
Y'all
approve,
want-
A.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jay. Do you have something?
I make a motion to approve work accomplished and scheduled.
All right, so a motion by
Second.
Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. Item A passes. Item B, Mr. Harrison.
I got a request for approval of utility permit for AT&T to construct a fiber optic service along across Fannin Landing Circle to be installed between Highway 471 and Hamilton Place.
All right, I'll make that motion to
Second.
approve. Second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. So item B passes. Item C.
Got a request of approval for utility permit for ceasefire to construct a fiber optic service utility along and across Farmington Station to be installed between Old Fannin Road and Hugh Ward Boulevard.
All right, so I'll make that motion again.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion?
Yes, I have one thing that,
Yep.
Craig, what we need to do to have these subcontractors out here doing these, laying this fiber or whatnot, to actually display what vendor they're working for?
We can do that by way of a board order, that would then, Mike would have to have somebody to enforce it. That would be the way to do it, but you need to put it on your minutes that you're requiring that.
Well, with all
That's
the,
part of the permit process.
it seems we have a huge uptick in, from C Spire and AT&T. They're coming out laying fiber all throughout the reservoir now, and
Nobody knows who they're working for.
nobody knows who they're working for. And not only that, I mean, it'd be nice, we've had in the past where they come and tore up an entrance to a subdivision and leave, and we never know who it is.
Yeah. What do you have in mind? Jeff?
I just want them to just display, some form or fashion who they're working for, who they were doing that project for.
Main thing is who to go back to about fixing just what you're saying. I mean, utilities are
Absolutely. So
leaving
if
it.
somebody's in the, out in their yard,
Right.
and then they don't fix the
Can't
whole back.
can't he just, when they fill out the application, does he
Part of
just,
the permit process, Jay, exactly. As part of the permit process, the permittee, the AT&T, for instance.
Yeah.
As a part of the permit, it would say that they are required, and it's conditioned on their having each subcontractor on the job display that the work is being performed on behalf of the permittee.
Yeah.
So it'll say, a subcontractor of AT&T.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's a big ask
Are you
for
thinking
them.
of, like
Just a sign.
a sign
Yeah.
that goes at the site of the work, even if the work is extending, what do you think?
Wherever their truck is,
All right.
you know.
Smooth the sign with the truck.
Yeah.
All right.
Mike, you think that'll work? I mean,
Either that or, where they're at the entrance of a subdivision, you know, they put up a sign saying construction work done by AT&T or
Yeah.
ceasefire, you know, just, I mean, it could be like one of those boat signs, you know, that they just stick up right there. Let these homeowners know, you know.
So what we need to do to make that happen?
Well, you need to be clear that the signage is being provided by the permittee,
All right.
right, on their nickel. We're not gonna make signs for them.
No.
And that as a part of the permit, they are to display those signs throughout the pendency of the job. As long as the job's being done, they've got to put signage up. We can adjust the permit
All right.
to reflect that. I don't know if we'll need to do anything specific other than you saying, I would like for the permit to be added in the form of a motion. I'd like for the permit to be amended so that it requires signage for the underlying permittee.
Okay. Well, I'm not asking for it today, but I would like to put it on our agenda in the future.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea because, it's like I've had some utility work where they actually just trim limbs and things. Well, obviously we knew it was through energy, but nobody even knew who the contractor was.
Yeah.
So there's no way to get back, for us to trace that down. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So you're not suggesting that we have Davini on the sign if they are doing the work for AT&T. We're just concerned that AT&T, at the end of the day, it's AT&T's problem, right?
Or whoever, however they want to address it is up to them. Whether AT&T does it or
I think
have
for
Davini
us,
do it.
Where we're gonna be able to affect the regulation is with respect to the permit.
Okay.
Okay, so we need to tell AT&T, it's gonna be your name on the sign, and you are responsible to make sure that your subs have those signs up if you're not gonna do it.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
You wanna do that now, Jay, or?
We'll do it the next meeting.
Okay.
That way we can have it all
Think about
planned
it,
out.
yeah.
Know how to do it.
All right, so all in favor and approval of item C? Any opposed with the like sign? Item C passes. Item D, Mr. Harris.
I got a request of approval of a utility permit for Pearl River Valley Water Supply District to construct a sanitary sewer force main and water main utility along and across Spillway Road.
Where is that at?
Coming from Shaggy's, coming across Spillway, coming down, and then a turn going beside that road, going to the soccer fields back there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so motion by Mr. Morrow,
Second.
second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? So item D passes.
I got one more. Craig, you want to handle, I didn't see it on the agenda. You want to handle that on additional, or you want to take it now with the equipment?
Put it under additional.
Okay. We'll just come back at
Okay.
additional business. I'll
Okay.
talk then.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you, Mike.
But Parker,
So item A, Mr. Parker, good morning.
he doesn't go.
How are you doing this morning, Mr. Buster?
Doing good. Tax collector's harassing me a little bit, but
I understand.
that's common.
I understand.
Thank you, sir. I have several items on the agenda. The first pertains to the Woodlands curb repair project, and I'm recommending approval of a summary change order on that project in the amount of $2,812.75. That was for some additional crushed stone and concrete sidewalk.
Mr. Buster, didn't we do that 6 months ago, 8 months ago? Or is this a recent thing?
You mean the
How long
work?
are we gonna do this project?
I
Because
thought
I thought it was a year ago.
I thought it was done, yeah.
Not, this isn't filing it out to get to the final payment.
I was just thinking we did all that
No, sir.
about a year or so ago.
No, sir.
Have they done work recently over there?
Not recently.
So this is a existing bill from a year ago,
I'd
possibly?
have to look back at the
Mike.
bill on it.
Is that right? Is this
I'd have to check.
a follow-up or final bill, I guess, from a year ago's work? Or just now coming back
That's what
to
it
us?
amounts to, yes, sir.
This is what we've been holding as a retainer.
Oh, for them
Okay,
to
I
come
got you,
fix
I got
their
you,
work.
okay, I got you. All right, good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's no new work's been done, this is,
No.
I got you.
No.
All right, so I'll make that motion to approve then.
Second.
Second by Mr. Morrow. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like signs. Item
Thank you,
A
sir.
passes.
The
Item
next
B.
item is just approving the final payment of $8,234.42 to Bulldog Construction Company on that Woodlands curb repair project.
I'll make that motion
Second.
again. Second by Mr. Bishop. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like signs. Item B passes. Item C.
Item C is Holly Bush Road widening project. We're recommending the award of the contract to Southern Rock LLC in the amount of $1,840,495.45. I believe each of you have a bid tab in front of you.
What budget items has come out of, Ms. Austin? Road.
I make a motion that we approve it.
All right, so a motion by Mr. Gaines to approve, second by myself. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like signs. Item C passes.
Thank you.
Item D. Mr. Parker.
Item D, Holly Ridge, we're recommending approval of the preliminary plat there.
Where's Holly Ridge at?
That's a good question. I'm going northeast, I'm gonna guess.
Holly Ridge is out off Holly Bush. Stump Ridge and Holly Bush.
It's in that vicinity, yes, sir.
Yeah, there's a tremendous amount.
I'm
Yeah,
going
I'll make a
Holly
motion
Park.
we approve.
Bigger Holly
growing
Bush,
somewhat.
Holly,
These are, they're large.
Going out on a limb over there?
I think the smallest is 3 acres, up to 8 acres, and it's a nice.
I'm going to insist, though, that we start putting the districts next to these subdivisions. So, on the agenda. Just insist on it, so that we can know where we are.
All right, Mr. Gaines, motion to
Yeah,
approve.
motion.
The motion approved by Mr. Gaines, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like signs. Item D passes.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Parker, thank you so much. Mr. Slade, good morning. We're at item 9 on our agenda.
I make a motion, we put A, B, C, D together for April 16th public hearing.
All right, so motion by Mr. Morrow to put A, B, C, and D together.
Oh, no.
Second by myself. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with like sign. So item A through D is complete. Public hearings, Mr. Slay, item E.
This is a public hearing on the Keith Dean conditional use permit, 745 Highway 468. This is District 3 parcel. We'll open that public hearing. Mr. Dean of Dean Funeral Home is seeking a conditional use permit to add a cremation chamber.
Getting new business over there, huh?
Yeah, that's good. A cremation chamber.
It's always nice to see that deacon in him come out, you know, in situations like that.
It's the Easter season, okay?
Yeah.
We're in the resurrection business these days. Okay. Inside the funeral home at 745 Highway 468, he proposes to enclose the existing garage at the rear of the funeral home by adding 4 garage doors. The chimney will appear as if it's a residential chimney. It's a 5.98 acre parcel, is already zoned C2. So we'll open that, I'm sorry, that public hearing's already open. I'll ask you if there is anyone here to speak in opposition to the Keith Dean Funeral Home conditional use permit request. Anyone to speak in opposition on that? Mr. President, I don't see anyone here to speak in opposition on that matter. I'll close that public hearing. At this time, it'll be appropriate to take action.
I make a motion to approve.
So motion to approve by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like signs. Item E passes. Item F, Mr. Slay.
This is a public hearing on the Elizabeth Gilbert conditional use permit, 206 Spell Road, District 1. We'll open that public hearing. Ms. Gilbert is seeking a conditional use permit to place a 2017 28 by 48 manufactured home as a second dwelling at 206 Spell Road. Property is owned by her son-in-law and her daughter, who have a home on the property. It's a 10-acre parcel, and it's zoned RE1A. This time I'll ask if there is anyone here to speak in opposition to the Elizabeth Gilbert conditional use permit request. Anyone here to speak in opposition? Mr. President, I don't see anyone here to speak on that matter or in opposition to that matter. We'll close that public hearing. At this time, it'll be appropriate to take action.
I make a motion to approve.
All right, so motion to approve by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like signs. So item F passes. Thank you, Mr. Slay. Ms. Oster, we're at item 10. Good morning.
Good morning. First item I have is approval to accept our DEQ non-competitive grant, and this is mainly used for our recycle bins. This is not hazardous. Y'all can strike that part out. It's in the amount of $27,128 and authority to execute those documents.
So moved.
All right, so motion by Mr. Morrow,
Second.
second by Mr. Gaines. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like signs. Item A passes. Item B.
Request approval to set our Rankin County Cleanup Week from May 7th through the 12th, and authority to advertise notice of the Spring Cleanup Week.
So moved.
All right, so a motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed with like signs. Item B passes. Additional business, Ms. Oster, under item 11.
The first one would be, I think Renee will handle that. That is the changes to our community development permit fees.
Okay. Ms. Renee, good morning. Any discussion on that? I know we talked about it Thursday. Everybody good?
I'm good with it.
Okay. Board wish to entertain a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
All right, so motion to approve by Mr. Morrow, second by myself. Discussion?
Yeah,
Only
this
thing
is
I
to
had
get
a
us in
little-
line with everyone else, isn't that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
The only thing I had was a little question on is the stop work order fine. You know, because I wasn't completely sold on that one, but that's what y'all want to do.
You need to get their attention, right? That's the whole point. Obviously, if you don't put your teeth into it, there's really no motivation for them to just go out and do. So if we're gonna have to go through the process of creating a stop work order, then I'm in favor of the fine.
Yeah, but
Can we
sometimes,
address it? I mean, and I know this isn't what's gonna happen, because I know these people, but the perception's gonna be, oh, they'll turn you down and make money on it. Kinda like ticket writing,
Well, I think from
areas.
that same point,
But-
as long as we use good discretion.
could
and
we
it's
give them,
warranted,
I mean, like,
step up.
per job? Could the first one be a warning?
Well, it'll be rare if we ever use it anyway, but on
okay.
occasion, we've
Okay, I thought it
posted
was-
one and that we've told them not to, stop work, and they continue to work. So in those cases, we would definitely want to
well,
be.
that's a little
That's
different, but I mean, sometimes, go ahead.
It would be a rare circumstance if we had to use it.
Because sometimes I know, like, with all this rain and stuff, the silt fences have been issues, and, they're doing what they can do, but they can't, sometimes you can't get out there because it's such a muddy mess, and I know there's been some stop work orders because of some of that, and I don't think it's quite right to fine them when the weather has created a problem for them too.
Yeah, I think we would use common sense in those instances too, and if it had been raining, we would give them some additional time, but JB wants to speak.
Well, that's what I would expect, and I would hope, because we're the ones gonna be hearing it, and hear their side of the case, and sometimes I kind of tend to lean and understand their predicament they're in with the weather things, but go ahead.
Being a contractor, ex-contractor, I know what they're feeling, and I know it's hard to do. But there's times that we go out there and we try to get them to put silt fences up, and they just kind of thumb their nose at us, and that just makes it worse. But there's times that they could do a little more than what they're doing, and that's all we're asking them to do. When that silt is coming out and you see the big hole right there, and they've neglected to do anything about it, then I think we need a little teeth.
But I don't, but put a stop work order, why can't you just tell them to fix that, and if they don't, then you do one, don't just immediately go put.
We don't do that. We'll tell them to fix it. We try to get them to fix it. And if they don't fix it, then we got to do something.
Well, then I would think you need to then tell them, look, if we had to put a stop work order, it's gonna cost you. It's a fine for that. I mean, don't let them know that, because don't let them go along and then, go and put the word out that that's what it's gonna be.
Well, I think as they come get a permit, they'll know what the fine's gonna be.
Yeah,
So they
I
all
agree.
make
I think it's
sure
important.
they don't get it.
I think it's important to have that teeth
You could also
on
give them
it.
warning in some ways too, in some situations, I know, and I think you need to handle them, some of them kind of case by case. I would hope you do that too.
We do.
Sure.
Because we got some, I think y'all are trying to address some inconsistencies that I've heard about. And I think you're addressing some of that, need to be consistent on what you're doing.
Yeah, I've got confidence in you guys. Use your best judgment and make those decisions as they come out. So.
Thank you.
But you must not get the phone calls I get.
Well, I get them, but I get them the opposite way, that we can't get people to comply with the stuff. And we go out there and we tell them we need to get this silt fence in place to shut it down, and they won't do it. They thumb their nose up at us and go on about their business. So I get them on the opposite side of not complying with it. So.
Yeah, but I just don't want to make it so hard on the guy, on home builders and some of this stuff. And we keep adding this to it and add this to it. So.
All right.
That's my take.
Anything else on discussion? All right, all in favor say aye. Any opposed with like sign?
Nay.
All right, so Mr. Morrison is opposed. Item B, Ms. Oster?
Authority for the Sheriff's Department to advertise county resources in the amount of $150 with the Rankin County Chamber of Commerce at a booth for the Community Health Fair, May 2nd. And I think he's going to have Triad supplies there.
Okay.
So moved.
All right, so motion approved by Mr. Morrow, second by myself. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed with the like sign? Item B passes. We had one thing under additional business I know from Mike.
Okay, we also
Yeah,
had
sounds
H from the consent agenda that was pulled to add back
Okay.
under here.
Let's do Mike first, if that's
Okay.
all right. Mike, this is that additional business we talked about under your section. I just need to make a motion to add it to the agenda. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So,
moved.
motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Gaines.
This is on.
I was gonna say, what are we adding?
Yeah.
You're adding consideration of our case equipment that is no longer going to be, that we're no longer going to have the buyback honored by the underlying company. JWH is going out of the case business. And so what will be before you is the recommendation by the road manager and myself as board attorney and the county administrator that we go ahead and return the case equipment to
It'll
whatever
be,
the
it'll be
appropriate thing
surplus,
is.
it'll be
Yeah.
surplus to Caterpillar.
Surplus the case equipment and go ahead and enter into an arrangement under state contract with Caterpillar to replace those units.
So you gonna sell it back to Caterpillar, or you gonna sell it back to Case? That
Going to
equipment?
Caterpillar, I have no way to go to Case.
Okay, so you Caterpillar's taking the used equipment, that's their problem to deal with how they want
But I
to do
just
it.
need,
Are they
I just
giving
need
us the
author.
buyback amount that we were expecting from, or
It's-
close?
It's actually, it's either equivalent to the buyback
Yeah.
amount, it may be a little bit better than the buyback
Oh,
amount.
wow.
I wanted to
You're
make
gonna
sure
end
that
up
was
with
explained,
about-
so we understand why we haven't.
You're gonna end up about 50,000 short of water
I got
on the case equipment, okay? But the issue, and this was the subject of a discussion that we've already had with you guys, is that Mike is forever taking that case equipment to have it repaired. It's at least one unit is always in the shop.
Where are we having to take it now?
Coast, Gulfport.
Gulf Coast.
Yes, sir.
That's where your warranty work is being
Heck, You
done.
spend $50,000 trucking it back and forth down there.
That's right.
And we're trying to get into a situation where, number one, we're under state contract with the provider, okay? That's
So why are
very
we in this
helpful.
predicament?
Because the case dealer
Went out.
has lost his franchise.
You mean he quit his franchise?
Yeah.
Okay. And we're stuck.
We're stuck.
All right.
Where is he?
All right.
Where is he in this conversation?
We're looking at the this is free, this is on top, this is Lanyap on top since we're talking about it. We're gonna look at the possibility of restructuring any sort of bid award that we have to go through on this kind of equipment where you've got a buyback issue, which hopefully now that we've got a supplier that's on state contract, we won't be having a whole lot more of these bid situations. But if we do get into a bid situation, there's a buyback, we wanna look at implementing a requirement that there be a personal guarantee associated with any buyback requirement.
Or a bond, I think.
A
they said.
bond, possibly. Look at implementing something like that. We're not sure how that's gonna affect us with our bids, whether we would get the same number and quality
Yeah.
of bidders under those arrangements. But it would be a way for us to have some pressure so that we don't just have folks walking away from a buyback obligation.
I can't imagine a personal guarantee like Mr. John Deere writing his name,
no.
but I could see a bond.
Yeah, I could too, because you gotta put those contingent liabilities on your personal financial statement.
Right,
You got
yeah.
A couple $100 million.
Hurt their credit, yeah. What about,
All right, so the motion
the bond,
here
will
is,
the bond cost any money?
Yeah, oh yeah, bonds gonna cost money too.
Why couldn't we just put in that they need to be in business, 15 years?
Well, they
And
have.
that'll cut
How long-
out some
how
of
long was
this.
this one?
No, they
Not
don't.
that long.
not that long?
No.
They bought out tubs.
I got you. All right, so
And then you're gonna get accused of writing folks out.
all right, Mr. Slade, the
Well,
addition to the agenda
Yes, sir.
is based on discussion and potential action for case equipment.
That's correct.
So there's a motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Gaines. Now into the discussion of it.
And also, Jay, to answer a question you asked me earlier, the backhoes we're doing for 2 years, the loaders were going 4 years.
Yep.
So we're on track with our, loaders were coming off anyway.
Yeah, we're not getting out of whack on our
That's
schedule.
right. We're not gonna
so
get out of whack
budget's
on our
not gonna be
schedule.
hit hard.
Yeah.
Well, when we buy from, on state contracts, is any kind of buyback?
Yes, sir.
It is
They
on
they
them
have gave us a buyback and a
Good.
100% service agreement
Right.
to
Okay.
do all this equipment with.
So there's
So
two
we get a
parts.
discount up front plus, because state contract plus a buyback.
Yes.
Good.
So there's two parts to it. I want to make sure.
That's what I just was wanting clarification, so we're gonna
Surplus
all
the case.
equipment for trade-in and purchase off state contract, and then the maintenance agreement buyback will be board order, not, because that's
Yes.
not part of the state contract.
Yes, ma'am, that's right.
That'll be completely separate.
That's correct.
So I just need clarification, so I didn't screw up.
Yeah, I could see how you would. It was a lot of,
It's different, it's confusing, I just want
It
to make
is.
sure we cover.
well, basically, it's just, we're going to state contract and they'll have a buyback there. We're going to move out this case equipment.
Yeah, so my suggestion would be that we surplus the case equipment. That's, needs to be in your motion. That the purchase of the appropriate CAT equipment off a state contract, and then you guys approve the buyback arrangements with CAT and with the local dealership, subject to my review and Mike's review and Bridget's review.
All right, so the motion we got on the table right now is to add it to the agenda.
Yeah, I think
All right,
that-
so let's take a vote on that, get that done, then we'll move into action at that point. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with like sign. All right, so it's been added to the agenda. Now the motion, Mr. Slay?
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Surplus the case equipment, authorize purchase of the CAT equipment off state contract, approve a buyback arrangement and whatever warranty arrangements would not be on the
And
state
service.
contract.
Okay.
Service.
And the service agreement, subject to my approval, Mike's approval, Bridget's approval.
Okay, Mr. Morrow, you good with that
Yes.
motion? All right, so that motion by Mr. Morrow, second by myself. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign.
Thank you.
Item passes. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Now, Ms. Oster, on to item H.
H, yes, school
Now,
bus
please.
turnaround.
School bus
There was a
turnaround.
question.
Where's our support, Jennifer, do we have supporting documentation on our computers anymore, or what is that, where is the bus turnaround there? And what is the issue? I mean, I
We
think.
have a master list of veterans every year in August.
The issue,
And then
well,
from
I'd let
now on-
Steve explain it. It's his district, but I.
Well, it's
Well, I think
not
it's everybody.
just-
It's the whole
not really
county.
just in my district. Mike, can you come back, because you are on the ground on this stuff, and we talk to you, and then you're trying to go between, and seems like it's not a lot of continuity. And I'm just gonna give one example that's fresh, but it's been going on for over 2 years. And I've had some others, and I know other districts have, but this one is clearly a school bus route. It's Shady Oaks, over there a little above, between Pelahatchie and Leesburg. It's a gravel drive, probably a half a dozen houses and a church is in there. And they have 4 to 6 children that ride the bus. If I back up a couple of years ago, I was told by the road people at that time it was a school bus route, and they worked it, and it was in bad shape, and well, let's see what we can do. Well, it's not on the list. And I talked to the people there, and they said, no, our children all still riding it. I think that they had to pull the bus out with a tractor or something at one point. The drive had gotten that bad. The principal was very into getting it fixed. I mean, he didn't know the process. Well, he wrote 2 letters saying, please help us on this road. And it somehow percolated through and got back on the list. And they worked the road for a season, and then it come through the winter now, and through the winter, a gravel road. We've been planning on doing a turnaround. There's really not a turnaround ever been made. The bus driver pulls into a yard, backs into another, does about 6 of these to get out. So we were just gonna do the cul-de-sac, a little cul-de-sac. And Mike said, man, it's not on the list again. And I talked to parents, and same children are riding the bus, same everything, but someone is taking these roads off. And I don't, arbitrarily, I don't know why. And when you can't find out and it falls back, it looks like that it's the Rankin County Supervisors. You know, why are y'all doing this to us? Why? And then when Mike told me that this road is about 3/4 of a mile long, that they told him, even if we put it back on there, we're only authorizing you to work the turnaround. Well, at this one, there's no turnaround. We hadn't built it for the past 10 years or whatever. They've been going in there doing this.
Who built the road?
It's a private road. It's Shady Oaks. It's a church
I'm
in there.
saying, when it was built,
Oh,
where did we get the ball drop, not having a turnaround? Only those times we put required a cul-de-sac there.
This is probably
Before,
much older than 2002.
It's probably a 40-year-old.
But if you did a cul-de-sac, you gotta have somebody's property.
Well, the people, they're all family and friends, and I mean, they don't.
You talking about?
They'd rather have the cul-de-sac than
80
backing
foot,
in the
100 foot
yard.
radius?
40 to 50 foot.
40 foot?
From the center
Oh,
around.
from the center, okay.
It'd be 80 or
We
80.
That's what the
we
80s
don't do
were,
the
yeah.
road, right? We just do the turnaround.
That's what was fixing, that's what was getting right here. They,
Well, I mean,
They
I've
said you
always
do it
I've
turn-
always interpreted that when you give me a request to go work a school bus turnaround, I mean, you're to work that road so the school bus can get down there to the turnaround.
So you say you
No,
bring-
According-
if we're gonna
according
do
to the-
that, then we might as well let somebody go put their private road in and subpar, and then let the county come maintain it for you.
One of the
That's not-
reasons, that's one of the reasons why in our restrictive covenants on private roads, we say it can't be a school bus
Now
turnaround
we're-
unless it is brought up to county standards.
Now, yeah.
That's what we do now.
Yeah.
And it's for that very reason. It's because I interpret it the same way Mike does. It is the route that the school bus is required to travel on a dedicated school bus turnaround.
Right.
I would think it too.
From the public road to the turnaround, that is maintained by the county. Once that is placed officially in our minutes as a school bus turnaround.
Yeah, well.
But they're telling me
Yeah, but
when they tell me that all they're giving me is authorization to work turnaround. We work the road, we're on our own.
Yeah.
Well,
so-
the thing there, what if the road was 1.5 miles long?
Yes, sir. Exactly.
So what's the question?
I don't
What
know
is the issue?
well, we gotta get some consistency
Right.
of how it goes on the list and how it comes off. I mean, I don't even want to say this, but anyhow, you ask how why'd you take it off where there's no children that's catching a bus? Well, when did you check it? And I'm not gonna tell you the answer.
Right, as long as
It was, school wasn't in session during the time they checked it. So, but anyhow, it's different answers, and I mean, there's nobody that is
Here's the
responsible.
process, guys. The school delineates what is an active school bus turnaround.
Mhm.
Why? Because they are the ones that are supposed to know whether there are children who are being picked up. That's the trigger mechanism. If there are school bus age children riding the school bus, they can declare it to be a school bus turnaround, which then frees us up to go and to maintain it for that sole purpose.
Well, most of these are in very rural areas, gravel roads, stuff like that. I understand Jay does not probably have one in his district. But it's
much
very
gravel at all.
sensitive out in the rural area where these parents caught the bus on this same road, and now their children or grandchildren, and they look it up. I mean, they're looking at me thinking that I'm shutting it down, and I'm not, and I can't get them an answer.
We've had situations just like you got, Steve, and throughout over the years that we've worked at, just like you're saying, it's been 1/2 mile. Anyway, it's been partial road too. We had one I know of, which child not there anymore, but it was a handicap, and we had to work across even a lake dam. The road went across the lake dam to their house for that bus turnaround, handicap bus turnaround. So that's since been.
Yeah, but I'll just say this, even though I know it's on the record, and it may be a little bit indelicate, but here's the situation. If the law is that we're only allowed to work an actual physical cul-de-sac, then somebody explain to me how it is that the bus
gets to the
gets
cul-de-sac.
there,
Yeah.
if the road is mangled and a mess.
Exactly.
That makes no sense to me whatsoever. I can't imagine that an interpretation would be only work the radius cul-de-sac.
Right. Well, another thing that I'd have to look at too is some of these roads just like this one, way before we had any ordinances and that they had to go by to build a road.
Right.
And so, sure, it may never be up to /county standard. There's no way possible, but it's because it's the age it is. I look at that in some situations I've been up against, and so it's not their fault, but whenever it's built.
I mean, I would be well, I wouldn't be happy, but it would make it easier to explain if the school was the front person instead of us, and they would communicate with those children's parents through their local schools or whatever, and say, we're not allowing, them to fix this road anymore, because it's ultimately their decision if they don't put it on the list,
Right.
or let them know that only the cul-de-sac.
That's right.
Tell the parents and the principals, we no longer can work from the county road to the cul-de-sac, only the cul-de-sac. And, I mean,
Go and get Freddie over here next meeting.
Yeah, so
There's
my
no
thought
way,
process,
there's no
honestly-
way that'll work. I mean, you're right. Everything you're saying is right. There's no way, like Craig says, you gotta get to it, turn around.
well, that's what they told Mike.
We can always shut the process down to get their attention, and then they come
Well,
talk
well,
to us. But
It's
I mean,
almost discriminatory, really, because we feel it more in the rural area,
Oh, yeah.
where the people don't have but one car, and they gotta go to work in it, the kids gotta ride a bus, and I mean,
I'm right, we're with you. I think you're exactly.
The only
I'm gonna
thing-
get Freddie over here to come visit with
There
us.
are some situations, though, I do know the school has turned down that were legitimate, and thank you to the board, they did, because they were situations where all they want to do is get that
their driveway.
drive fixed.
And I'm totally
And
against that.
had built
Yep.
well, one of them, they built they just went down through a pasture and they built a house and put a couple mobile homes in, and all of a sudden they call this pasture road their drive, and they want to turn it into a bus turnaround. It's nothing but dirt and mud holes. So, I mean, the school also turned that down. That was good, but
Yep,
this is
yep.
a different situation.
It's a cooperative process. We are joined at the hip because we're not Mike does not need to be in the business
Right.
of determining whether or not there's school-aged children on a given road. That has to be the school doing it.
Yep.
So they've got to declare them. Our job is to work them. They don't have the equipment. They just simply do not have the equipment to be able to go with work road. So we are joined at the hip on this process. I think the frustration is that there doesn't seem to be a consistency, Steve.
Yep.
If you've got a fourth grader on the road, unless they move, we need to be working that road until that kid quit school or graduate.
And we
Well,
did
see
that
what,
with that
see where I'd like
handicap
it,
child.
where it'd be ideal, Craig, is, I mean, I've got a guy on a motor grader that goes all the way around this county. And if it was okay to work though, I mean,
If
we
his,
work,
if his list was inclusive.
Just whip in there and
yeah,
work
he
it
could-
while you're there, so you won't have to
Yep.
drive all the way back out there.
Right.
Yep.
So it's a process where we need to be having at least somewhat regular meetings. They send us the list, they send us a blanket list every year, and then roads will come on and off through the year, but not very frequently.
Yep.
But they will come on and off. We probably just need to have some interim discussions with those guys. Which ones really need to be on, which ones can we go ahead and pull off?
Well, but like, it would save us manpower and time and everything if we know that one's on there, and while we're over there, just go ahead and brush it up and move on out.
Maintain.
Yeah.
That's the
Right.
key. Maintain. We're not in the business of improving, we're maintaining.
Hear that?
Okay.
All right, so item H, do we want to table this
Yeah.
to bring him in? All right, so
Well,
we'll table item
We
H.
gotta put it on and then table it.
Well, it's
See where
already
he
on
wants
there,
to
we just
take
brought
it.
it off.
Okay.
So now I think all we need to do is a motion to table it.
I'll make a motion.
So a
to
motion to
table
table by Mr. Gaines.
Second.
Second by Mr. Morrison. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign. So to follow up on that, you're gonna
So what-
get in touch with the school board?
Yeah, Mike and I probably work together, make sure we get word to those guys. I'll try to let Freddie know.
You need a Randy in there also.
Yeah, we probably need a vote in the room.
And
Yeah.
maybe Shane Sanders on the same point.
Yes, where we have left it then is that nothing has been removed from our current school bus turnaround document that is in place, which means, Steve, that if Shady Oaks is on our original school bus turnaround authorization from August.
Is it?
I don't believe it is.
I think
not on there.
it was taken
I
off.
think it's taken off. I think that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was taken off.
We didn't know it.
Right.
Nothing changed, it's still on.
Yeah, I got just one thing, on additional business, just update. We talked about this, Jay, I think you brought it up on the, training that the, election commissioners asked for the additional, for the, staff. Have we, you remember talking?
What are we doing?
We were talking, the election commissioners had asked about training the poll workers.
Yeah.
And we just kinda let that, we never even go any further than that.
They said by law we couldn't.
They're allowed so many days by law.
Did you follow up with Tanya and talk to her about it after that?
I've not talked to her. I pulled the statute on it, and I forget how many days they're allowed now, but it's all statutory.
All right, well, would you
Yeah,
make sure
they
that
thought
she
that
knows?
we
I
had
don't-
some discretion. I'm sorry, I thought you talked to her, but yeah, we need to definitely let them know, because they have some issues.
Yep.
I don't know what we're gonna do if they've, what are our options if we're maxed out?
The statute addresses by county population what election commissioners are able to, their per diem. They get paid by the day, okay? And their day is composed of a minimum of 5 hours of work time.
Over 2 days.
Over, yeah, that's right. It gets confusing. At any rate, the statute specifically addresses, you guys don't have discretion with respect to their statutory delineation, but they can ask for additional time for certain things, like cleaning up the poll books. That's just one that comes to.
Now, we're not talking about the election commissioners, we talking about poll workers.
Poll
I
workers.
understand.
All right.
I understand. All of that's under that same, the election commissioners are the ones who are responsible for the training.
Yeah,
Okay, so the issue is, does the statute allow them to get extra days? That's what they're asking for. They're already doing training. They want additional training days.
I don't know if the election commissioners are wanting to get paid for this. They just know that some of the poll workers need to get more training.
Right.
And therefore, we need to be able to pay them, the poll workers, not the election commissioners.
Okay.
and the other, and another thing
It would
they,
be different if the election commissioners are not going to be paid.
well,
for
they
the
need to
training, 'cause
clarify
they're
that.
limited a certain amount
Yeah.
of training days.
Right,
So
and I
I'd
think
like
they
to
know
look on
that.
the opposite side to see if, how much.
Well, would you address it with her? Because another thing is, they think it'd be work better if they did some little smaller groups, and I do understand that with the,
So can we do that?
we're gonna,
I'll look on the,
look, and would you contact her?
because that's a different thing on their
Okay.
side.
I'm sorry, I guess I wasn't clear last time.
Well, I,
assumed you were talking about the election.
no, I was,
Well,
I
knew it
thought
was
the
training,
other way
but I
too,
was
Jay.
thinking if they were gonna be paid, then they
Right.
locked into their number of days. If
Yeah.
they're not going to be paid and they're gonna just do it, then it might be that there's a.
Okay.
She didn't even reference them getting paid. She was just
Right.
concerned about the.
Training them, right.
Yeah.
We'll
And,
look at that.
and the other thing I'm saying with the election commissioners, have we talked to you more about another place for them to be?
What are you
We
talking about?
talked about somewhere else for them, more room for them,
Going across to the,
somewhere,
well, that's all we have right now.
okay?
And I have talked to Ann Ho. She was gonna get back with me and let me know how fast that they could clear out. They actually
Need
have
more
2
room?
rooms and they're one of them.
Man, you got a huge
Tons of
office.
storage items that they
Ain't
have.
there.
And she said
Short
that they
period
could
of time.
probably work out the one, and I've asked her to get back to me and tell me how long it would take to clear
Yeah,
out.
yeah, right.
Part of that room that would be across the
All
hall.
right, can you check on,
Right.
follow up
Yeah,
on
I
that?
talked to her once now.
And if you would, let them, whenever you talk to, whoever election commissioner, let her know that we're talking about that.
What are you talking about, Jerry? They got a huge room over there.
What I'm hearing is not enough room at all.
Where,
About-
you talking about where their offices are?
Correct. They wanna go across the hall. They wanna extend to be able to use some of the space that the health department
Mhm.
has.
said, hey, I'm just going what they're saying. I'm not the one that,
Health
I
department
can't tell you
has
where
or
you need more
had?
room in your house. You have to tell me.
They're not there.
They are there.
They are there.
You know, they had said they weren't gonna
Yeah.
maintain a space, well, they did, they continue to maintain the space, and several of them come in because they're apparently going straight online form has presented some problems with the public.
Oh,
So
really?
they do work periodically. But
I didn't know
have-
they were in the building. I thought they vacated.
Well, I
No,
thought they did
have-
too.
And they sort of have two offices, where front office, and then they have a second one beside it. Well, the big second one has become basically more or less storage for their files, their records. And I asked her to see about getting those records out so that we could have use of that one, that they could keep the front for the days that they do come in to help.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whenever we get through with our building, they're gonna move anyway.
Right.
So,
We'll not be through the building for the next election.
I mean, it's the first I heard of it. They got a
With the-
big room over there.
Well, you talk to them then.
Right, and they also
I'm just telling
ask
you what I
that
was
when
told.
we do.
Come on,
Have
you
y'all ever
agree.
seen it?
I'm just telling you what I was told, with paper ballots and things that require more space, and asked if we could work out, they could get more space. Hey, you know, I didn't go up there and look and say,
I say
Y'all
they
need to move
basically
this
are
over
now
and use it
printing
here.
ballots and they need more room to put their ballots.
They're not printing ballots, but unless it's on a very, very, very small scale, they will not be printing the ballots.
anyway, I was just passing
So the
on.
room that we're gonna move them to, I mean, what we're planning on doing?
Giving them additional space.
No, I'm talking about
Oh.
after we
I
complete
don't
our
know. Yeah.
courthouse. It'd be nice to know they gonna be content with what our future plans are for them.
Yeah.
I'd have to figure that out. Question, what about some of these polling places we still have a problem with connectivity? I know Cato was one,
Yeah.
Cato Fire.
Think
Do we ever,
Star.
have you done anything? Jay, do you know, hey, Jay Bishop, are you aware of one of these, two of these polling places that we were having problems communicating with a cell signal? Have we
Yes.
done, I mean, Cato was one, Cato Fire was one, and somebody
Yeah.
else.
I
Somebody
think,
Star
well, we
would-
hadn't actually done in Steve's district some, so we know.
You should have on the
we
school
got
bond district.
We got one in Jared and a couple in yours that, you know, either we're going to have to move our voting precincts or we're going to have to know that the system we bought is not going to run 100%. Which means, you know, we're going to have to wait and let them bring all their stuff to the county like we did prior to doing this.
Can we authorize Jared, our IT consulting company, to push this to the ground? I mean, as far as seeing what enhancements could be made at Cato Fire or Jared's Floating or whoever else is.
Wherever they
You know,
are.
to
Yeah,
see
That's
what.
not the issue, man. It's the cell signal itself.
Well, I mean, it's like the Cato Fire. You walk outside, man, you got 4 bars. You walk inside that
it's the
building, for
building.
whatever reason,
Yeah.
gone.
So could it be a
Can
booster
enhance
put on?
that.
That's what I was
No,
just
I've already
gonna say.
inquired with our vendor
Huh?
and there's no antenna we can put on to the machines. It's a little modem card that goes up in there and there's no external antenna. The only option that we have is, in our public safety option for that new AT&T service. I don't even know if we can utilize that, but I think that's our only option on some of these that we might be able to get a boosted signal from that. Other than that, we're just gonna need to move them.
Dude, these are
Man.
probably gonna be our smaller precincts.
They are, but.
I mean,
man,
but they're where people been voting forever.
Ever.
And they're not, I bet we're not too crowded at 7:05 at these precincts we're talking. I mean, it's not like one at Cross Gates or in Daniels District where they're in
No,
a,
you're not, but
in a
you ask
line.
these people to drive, 8 miles, which would be about 8 miles further.
No, I'm not suggesting.
No, I'm just saying if you try to do that.
I don't wanna move them. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, that if we do have 5% of the precincts that cannot connect, we got 95 that are, and they're probably 95 of the biggest, 95% the bigger ones. These smaller ones, we may have to wait 15 minutes before they get the results.
Oh.
No, it ain't 15 minutes. It'll be more like several hours.
That's if they have to drive it to.
Right.
Well,
Which
that's the
they're gonna
only
have
way
to do.
That's the only way to
I
communicate.
think it's the
That's
only
it.
option unless they
Yeah.
can turn the volume up on that emergency service thing. But
I
that's
would
still
think it'd be
probably.
something.
Yeah, I don't think the booster's gonna work without it.
We know exactly which
But
ones. I know Cato for me is one.
She was supposed to give me a list and she hadn't yet.
I need to see the list. I think Star might have been one.
I just don't think the booster will fix it.
Well, I got, strangely enough, I got one in the middle of Pearl
I wish
that's
it
not
would.
working.
It just won't fix it.
The
You need to go
community
and get
center.
that clandestine equipment out of there.
I
I think
mean,
it's just something with the configuration
just
of
the
the building.
building, just the building. Yeah.
There's no way to run
Yeah.
this tournament.
They don't have to.
It might, I just don't think so.
We have executive session.
All right, anything else additional business? All right, Mr. Slay, executive session?
Yes, sir.
We have, for personnel
We have
and,
one litigation matter, we have a potential property acquisition matter.
okay,
Personnel.
and personnel, yep.
Make that basic consideration for,
Second.
executive session.
All right, so motion by Mr., do you have someone additional?
I wanted to ask Craig, in communication, whoever's communicating with the education people as far as the bus stuff, ask them to be prepared to inform us what the deal is on the road part, as much as taking roads on and off the list, because I want us to be really clear. Are we authorized to do, if the road's in bad shape, get into the cul-de-sac, or are we not?
It has to be.
Well,
We have to
I mean,
be.
in most of the ones that I have, the roads are fairly short, quarter of a mile or
Right.
something. And
Well, let me ask you,
we're not gonna spend the time and energy and effort to move that equipment there to go down and blade a turnaround, when
Right.
really the road's in worse shape than the turnaround
well,
a lot of times.
something we may have to look at is, I don't know how the exact way to word it, other than length.
mean, if
Because
it's-
you got a 2 mile, I'm saying, if you had a 2 mile road, you might have to say the bus turnaround's gonna have to be put up.
It can do that. And that, I mean, I think the school could bear
Yes.
more responsibility to help us
We
there.
we can't go
Right.
start taking 2 miles of road.
I agree,
Yeah.
totally. And
But like you got, I think we need to take it and go.
well, I mean, if it comes down to just a cul-de-sac, it wouldn't cost the school very much money to have a tractor and a box blade
Well, I know.
and just take care of their cul-de-sac.
But you gotta
You know,
get to it.
I know.
The
but
bus
if-
can't get down the
right,
road.
I know, but
Yeah.
you know, that's what I'm saying. If they're gonna tell us
We'll have that,
we're not
that's for
authorized.
discussion. We're gonna have
Hey,
that.
Daniel, what flight did you use last time you went to Leeds? Whatever.
Continental. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed with the like sign? It was, motion by Mr.
What?
Morrow, second by myself.
Oh, that's Yahoo.
All in
That's
favor has
front page.
passed it, with no nays. Yeah, I went, Continental. I looked at all different routes. To me, it's that Continental flight is the best one.
I didn't, you fly to Jackson, right? Yeah.
I mean, hey, it's worth to me another $100 to fly out here. and not
Oh,
have to mess with
absolutely.
Hey,
somewhere.
Mike,
Yeah.
hey, Mike's, I mean,
Yeah.
you being recorded.
Yeah, it's just a flight.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're saying, I'm just saying.
The Continental flight's the best one. And use a connection in Houston or Dallas and just straight
Yeah.
through. You don't want to go the other direction.
Well, I knew like Delta and American Airlines. I didn't know.
Quit hammering them. Here we got,
Oh, July.
It's a long time away.
It is. I'm trying to get it early, you know?
Scott Davis, I mean, then we go in here, yeah, and then we just added this fee.
I make a motion, hey, I make a motion.
Hey.
Litigation and property
Is this
acquisition.
your,
All right, so motion to go into executive session by Mr. Morrow, second by myself. All in favor say aye. Any opposed with like sign. There it is. Executive session it is.